Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, and with this video, we'll be discussing my thoughts on episode 12 of the anime series, Gabriels Dropout, for all intents and purposes, the season finale. And, it's kind of interesting how they brought Gabrielle back to the fore in this episode. I mean, the show is her show for all intents and purposes. She is the titular character. Yet she's kind of like the least interesting, and I feel kind of sad to have to say that, she's really just the one-note joke that she's a lazy bum, she's a fallen angel, and she's just a bum, she's selfish, she's demeaning, she's lazy, all these things, and that's funny to a point, but it's kind of like, I would state it's welcome to a degree. Thankfully, they didn't harbor it and play on it time and time again throughout the course of the season. And I like that for, like, the final act of the season, we did call back on it a bit and sort of, lengthen it a bit, grow upon that idea. Finally being introduced to her elder sister, Zolas, who is much more straight-laced, much more stringent and strict as an angel, as an angelic presence, and, like, I was wondering all through the episode if the other leg was going to drop and we would find there was a twist, that we didn't expect to see coming, because Zolas talks about having been on Earth before for her studies in a similar fashion to Gabrielle. I had started to wonder if maybe we would find that Gabrielle was worried for nothing, that her elder sister was not really, she was sort of putting on this facade of being strictly angelic and everything, and we would find out she had been corrupted ages ago as well and missed it, and maybe it would all end on a joke note where, like, Gabrielle had twisted her sister back to it. She doesn't want to go back home. She wants to stay and everything like that, which I think would have been much more interesting and funny, whereas Gabrielle just decides to try to fake her sister out. And it was somewhat, comical, somewhat funny to see the lengths to which she would go, getting her maid outfit on, being the kawaii little sister and everything. She uses the MMORPG she's constantly playing as an example of her studies of humanity, that everyone falls for a little sister, a little kawaii chibi-looking character. Everything. People come to her rescue, hand her money, give her weapons and all this stuff in the game. So this has got to be the way the real world works, and she's got, Vinay and Raphael sitting by her side, not really playing along with her. There wasn't anything premeditated. She said, this is what I'm going to do, and you could just back me up a little bit, So they weren't actually part and parcel of it. They were just kind of there while it was going on, as long as they didn't deny it outright to Zalel when she showed up, ringing the doorbell. Everything would seemingly go smoothly. Satania gets tied up and gagged and tossed in the closet full of garbage, and Raphael apparently she's carrying around the gag and the rope, ever since Christmas, according to Vinay. And so it's like, geez, this chick is messed up. Why couldn't we have had the final episode based on her character? If they bring this show back, maybe we should put one of the other characters as the titular character and have Gabrielle be in the background. But so, there's noise coming from the closet. She's, like, using her pseudo-angelic powers of just leaping across the room and duct taping the closet shut, in answer to Zalel's being like, what's going on over there? And it's interesting, at least they did kind of throw me for a loop a little bit, that Zalel is actually all-seeing and all-knowing, and she's the god's hand and all this stuff. There's another anime character that has that nickname in another series I've watched, and I can't think of it off the top of my head. Might have been Shokugeki no Soma, or I think that was the god's tongue. In the case of that show. But yeah, I think there's a character with the God's Hand as their nickname somewhere. Let me know in the comments below if you can think of what the hell I'm trying to remember there. But so she's all-seeing and all-knowing, and she knows exactly what Gabrielle's up to. She's been watching for a time. She knows how Gabrielle has been living her life. She's not going to be fooled. She just sort of waits till the last second when Satani comes bursting out of the closet to let that leg drop, that, oh, I know what you've been trying to do. She takes her back to heaven, and she's gone for like a week or whatever it is. And, they're talking about, well, she's getting punished. They're trying to sort of reformat her to the way she's supposed to be. She comes back to Earth, and she's the angelic Gabrielle, going all the way back to episode 1. They tout that a couple of times. Vinay, like, everyone's questioning what's going on with Gabrielle, Tanya most especially. And Vina keeps saying, this is Gabrielle when I first met her. This is the way she was. She's cleaning the bathroom for the class president. You know, she's keeping the classrooms clean. She's getting her homework done. She's pointedly first coming to Satania's aid, you know, almost like a servant, and getting her drinks and getting her snacks and all this kind of stuff. And then because of that angelic side, oh, well, you know, there's too many carbs or too much fat in that melon bread, so you shouldn't have as much of that anymore. And, you know, you should study all volumes of the encyclopedia, get your homework done, be the, you know, the hardest core demon you can be through your studies and everything like that. Satania's losing her last nerve. And so she's just wondering what the hell is going on. And they concoct this plan to get her back to being that fallen angel. And then we find that, well, this is all an act too. You know, Gabrielle has been putting on this seemingly pitch perfect act of being uber angelic, much as her sister, her elder sister, wished and tried to condition her to be in taking her back to heaven. And it was all an act. It's all a schmooze because she wants to just buy some time to get Zolas off her back, to stop her from watching from the heavenly, you know, clouds above. And when that happens, she'll go back to her life of being lazy and a bum and all that kind of stuff. And so, of course, Zolas is already onto her. You know, she shows up again and she's about to lay the smacketh down. And I'm thinking it could get really interesting, because they lean toward the idea that Zolas may come down to earth. First, she wants to take Gabrielle back to heaven, but then because she has grown so friendly with, you know, Raphael, Vina, and Satania, respectively, arguably so, you know, Zolas decides, well, no, you know, friendship is something to be cherished, you know, so actually, I won't take you back to heaven. But in fact, I'll move in with you. And I'm like, oh, damn. If we pick up a second season with that, with her living with Gabrielle, that could be quite interesting. Although I give it all of 5 minutes of the first episode, she's out of Dodge again, you know. But if we could have left off with that idea, I think it would have been really interesting, you know, a really interesting way to end the season. Only that fails because the little puppy shows up when Satania brings out her melon bun, and apparently Zolas is terrified of dogs. Now, I don't know if she's just terrified of dogs and she projected that sort of hell dog vision that you see onto the animal, or the animal has actually been influenced in some way by Satania, so he turned into a hell dog for 3 seconds. Whatever the case, she's terrified of this little mutt, and she goes back to heaven, probably never to be seen or heard from again. And Gabrielle won. She won. You know, she won the day. She gets to be the lazy bum angel that she is, until the next day, where she is late for school. There's finals, and she's got to go to school. And they go back to that joke very early in the season where she tried to transport, it might have been in the first episode, she tried to transport into class, and her undies, her panties, were the only thing that transported into her seat in her classroom. Whereas this time around, just her skirt manifested itself. She tried to beam into her classroom with her angelic power, and just her skirt transported. And of course, those, you know, boys in her classroom are like, pray, you know, pray to the mystic power, you know. Maybe we'll get a whole nude woman here one day. And so the look on her face when she managed to fail at even this, and then she brings out the horn of destruction, and Vina pops in like, don't do it. You know? So that was funny. Overall, not the funniest episode. Overall, slightly, mildly disappointing, just because Gabrielle, there's not very much character growth with her character. She's not the most interesting character in this show. You can give that to any of the other three girls, Raphael, Vina, or Satania. I think, you know, Raphael is probably the most intriguing character to me by the end, because I would love to know why she gets off on messing with people, and what her background is, and how she was molded into this, if she's just sort of rebellious to the heavenly angelic aesthetic that, you know, befills her life, as we saw in the episode where she went home. She's got a pervert servant there, so maybe her whole family is that way. I don't know, maybe she's sort of rebelling against a more stringent, strict, you know, family of angels, the way, you know, Zolas was to Gabrielle. I don't really know. But I think that would have been the more interesting thing to investigate and get to know more of. Satania, of course, is probably my favorite character, in just being how boisterous and you know, sort of absurd she is. Vine as well is fairly interesting in that she is a demon, and she's really the most straight-laced of them all. You know, she's a demon, but she's the most angelic. I've touched upon that time and time again. So this was a fun series. Kind of ended on a meh level, you know, going back to that one-note joke with Gabrielle. Although it did, you know, the finale episode for this season did have its moments, as I say, all of which I've cataloged in this video already. Just saying, you know, those were the standout moments to me. Those were the things that were, you know, funny and entertaining to me or interesting to me. Of course, I also outlined ways I thought it could have been more interesting as a way to go out, but that's the way it is. C'est la vie, such is life. And so yeah, I mean, if they ever come around with another season, I'll be sure to probably watch it. I don't know if I would cover it in reviews. It would depend on how I feel at the time, but I enjoyed it for what it was, definitely. There were better episodes than this final one, but I love the characters. I love the dynamics. I would love to see another season of this where we could get to know more of Raphael and Vine and everything like that. You know, maybe see more of Satania wreaking havoc. I'm still kind of sore that she never got into heaven. I would have loved to have seen what she would have gotten up to in there. Probably, again, kind of like Zalel moving to Earth in a season 2. It would have lasted all of 5 minutes and she would have been cast out, which she's already had done twice, we can presume. Once we saw, the second time presumably happened the same way. So yeah, good series. Love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of this final episode, what you thought of the series overall. Did you enjoy it? Would you look forward to a season 2? Did you think this final, you know, finale episode for presumably, you know, season 1, did you think it fell a little flat as the other ones had? Did you think, you know, it was entertaining? Do you agree, disagree, anything like that? Anything goes in the comments below. Love it or hate it. Just love having that conversation. Otherwise, that'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well, and I'll catch you all later. Peace.